And with the run back, and a good run back, and he still isn't down, past 45 all the way out, almost to the 50-yard line, and a great return that time by Copley is number 9, Jay Arnold.
And John, this is a great opportunity for Copley to get something going quickly now. The Indians are going to try to get this offense going against a relatively vaunted Green defense. Impressive run back. I think it'll help them offensively now because they're not going to have to go the length of the field.
Quarterback Fahim Dix will set things underway for this Copley offense. 1st and 10 from their own 49-yard line. Snap is away, and Fahim is looking to pass. He's going to hit it out on the flat and bring it forward for good yardage. First down is that same guy we just saw bring the ball back, and that's Jay Arnold, number 9. Good play that time.
And John, this is one thing that Copley will do. They'll mix it out. They have a very, very strong rollout quarterback. There's the one thing that Copley will do is run that rollout offense because Fahim Dix really is a very talented rollout quarterback.
As you see, they will set both sides of the receivers both times, and we'll set that Copley offense here shortly. And the run is going to go to the left. We were going to set the Green offense for you because we were so excited about this Green offense because we've talked about them a lot, Mike. But this is Green defense that we can't, let go because this is a Green defense that is very solid in very many ways.
Oh, that's right, John, and especially up the middle defensively with Teddy Gray and Jake Shockley, the 2 inside backers for Green. These guys are all over the field. Expect them to make a lot of tackles, especially if Copley continues to run the football.
Set right is Fleming. The 2 receivers are set left. Dix is going to fade back to his left, and he's looking to pass. He can find no one. He's going to take it himself. And when it seemed he had a little bit of daylight, right there was number 70, Mr. Shockley. Shaka, he got the tackle on that, and he had 12 last week, Mike.
Yeah, he'll probably get that many again this week. This is really one of the most solid players in the Suburban League, John. He plays both sides of the ball. He's a very important person to keep Magrill on his feet offensively, and he's obviously the leader of this defense.
3rd down and 7. We are just underway here at Green High School, and this is something Copley's going to have to try to do is keep Green pinned back. If they can't score, they want to keep the field position throughout this game. We'll see what 3rd down can bring forth as we're going to get a flag as Fahim. We'll see what the call is.
And John, Andy Patton, the left defensive tackle for Green, was a little anxious there. Dix did a nice job of changing the cadence. Drew Patton offside, and obviously a 5-yard penalty. No question on that call, but it brings up a 3rd and short now rather than a 3rd and long.
3rd and 2 from the 34. It'll be interesting to see if they don't get it here, if they'll go for it on 4th. Coach Dorman said that they were going to come in and win this game tonight, and we'll see if it holds true as stacked up the line of scrimmage and keeping his feet moving and heading down to just about the 25-yard line, and I believe was a 1st down. And I think he did get the 1st down. That's going to move the chains, and that was number 2, Lloyd Garden.
Green defense, obviously a very strong part of this squad, and I'm sure they have an even better time of things if that Copley didn't start with such good field position. But this is what Copley needs to do. They need to keep the ball in the Green end of the field. That way, if Green is on offense, they have a long way to go.
Dix goes to Lloyd, and Lloyd is going to bounce off tacklers, kick out left, and he's still keeping his feet and plunging down to almost the 5-yard line, and I believe he got down to actually about the 6, and that's going to move the chains again, and Copley is in business as Lloyd Garden was plunging over the left side, and good yardage on 1st down there.
And John, the impressive thing about Garden is this kid's a 9th grader, John. He's a 5'11", 195-pound freshman, and that's one thing that Coach Hominy had talked about. They're very impressed with this young runner. Obviously, they should. Anytime you have a freshman as your top ball carrier, he must be a pretty special player.
1st and goal from the 6. Dix is under center. Handoff is going to go to Garden. He's going to blow down. He's going to get to about the 3-yard line, where that will make it 2nd and goal for this Indian squad.
You get a good shot right there. Jake Shockley taking the defensive calls from the sideline, giving them to his team. It's a big play right here because Green did not want to find themselves in a comeback situation in this game this early.
You know, Mike, while we have a break, I want to thank Coach Joe Hominy for all of his help this week. He really helped us out a lot getting set for this game, gave us a lot of information, as well as Tony Winkler and Mike Conley, who have given us the statistics for tonight, and they will continue to do that throughout the game. Dix is going to keep himself, and the Green defense would have nothing to do with that, and they're going to drop him back at about the 10. And Copley, but it seemed like they're in business, is going backwards suddenly on that play.
And guess who, John? Jake Shockley once again with a little help from Rick Brown, number 43. Who's playing in for Green. It was a loss of 7, and it'll bring him back to about the 10-yard line, but it's once again still 3rd and goal because of where the ball was before. A big play by the Bulldog defense.
Huge play. As you said, 3rd and 10, 3rd and goal actually. Dix under center. He has the 2 wide out set to the left. He's going to roll to his left and see if he can find anybody. Pass is going to go into the flat and riding him right out of bounds. I believe the intended receiver was Jamie Kaufman, a running back out of the backfield, but he's going to be tackled at the 5-yard line, and Copley is going to attempt a field goal.
And it was very nice coverage that time by John Dickerson of the Bulldog defense. Stayed right with Kaufman through the whole play and rode him out of bounds before he could get turned upfield, because a lot of times all the player needs to do is square his shoulders towards the goal line and he can at least barrel himself in. But that time Dickerson would have nothing of it and rode Kaufman out of bounds.
And I believe we're going to have a timeout on the field. And since we have a timeout on the field, hopefully we can set that Copley offense here for you real quickly, shortly. And we'll also set that. Passing offense has really improved. Norvell is going to take the kickoff at the 18. He's going to roll to his right. He's bouncing off tacklers, and they're trying to strip the ball for him, but he's going to get out to about the 35. Good run back that time, and this is something we're going to see throughout, Mike. A little bit of extracurricular, because these are two teams, definitely no love lost when it comes down to the Copley Indians with the Green Bulldogs.
That's absolutely true, John. This is obviously a big revenge game for the Green Bulldogs. Now, Coach Hominy said that he always strictly keeps it to let's play this game, but these guys they must be thinking about what happened last year. This loss to Copley may have kept them out of the playoffs last year, so this is certainly a revenge game for them.
Yeah, and Copley cares not that Green is 3-0 because they have no respect for that whatsoever. They want to come in and beat this squad as much as possible. Haynoff's going to go to Marchino over the right side, and he keeps his feet moving, and he's only going to get about 2 on first down. Mike, this is something we talked about throughout the year, was yardage on first down, as we'll set the Green offense here for you shortly. Is yardage on first down and how much yardage they can get. And you think that first down is the key to winning in high school football?
Oh, I certainly do, John. Most offensive squads in high school football are not prepared to change a game plan as the game goes along. They would like to keep what they put on the chalkboard before the game started. And let's face it, the more yards you get on first down, the less you have to deviate from that original game plan.
Handoff left goes to Finizzi's. He's going to get about 2 yards. And suddenly it's third down. And this is our Green offense, as the wide receiver is Brandy Norveld. Your running backs are John Marchino, Ron Carlson, and Franco Finizzi. And Todd Harrelson is your tight end, with Brian Magro, as we talked about, is the quarterback. As for that offensive line, Phil Marquette, Jake Shockley, Ryan Gray is the center, Sam White, and Jeremy Dobshaw is the other guard. And it is now 3rd down and 7 as Green is trying to get something going. And that's going to go absolutely nowhere. And the ball is loose. And Paul, I believe Green got it back. And Mike, this is something we talked about. Green really has to watch turning the ball over tonight, especially early, because you don't want to give this Copley Indian squad any more confidence than they need.
And John, I think you're absolutely right there, John. This is a game where there really is one team that's significantly more talented than the other. But turnovers makes a huge difference, obviously. We've seen it in the NFL with a team in this area, the Cleveland Browns. They were able to beat a far more talented team in a game, the San Francisco 49ers, because the 49ers turned over the ball and the Browns didn't. And obviously that will be the case tonight. If Green turns over the ball and Copley does not, then we could see an upset.
And the snap is high and just getting it away. And the ball will, boy, Green was all over the coverage on that play, and wisely, and he probably should have just ran off the field, was Jay Arnold. The punt that time was by number 24, Rick Stokes. And he got the ball away under a huge rush, but that allowed Green to get all over that coverage, and Jay Arnold should have just ran off the field.
Stokes did a nice job of getting that punt off as the snap was high. He had to haul it down, and the rush was in his face, but he got a pretty decent punt off. But really, John, this is a perfect situation for Copley again, because at their own 35, that's not really that bad a field position. They didn't want to start deep in their own territory. They haven't thus far.
And as we said, too, they don't mind running that clock down as much as possible. I'll say one thing for the Green offenses. We'll set this play here shortly, and then we'll get that note in. Dix under center has these wide out split left. The handoff is going to go to the left, and that's the fullback over the right side. I believe it was Lloyd Garden, as he was just mauled after about a 2-yard game. You know, the Green offense last year started slow, the games that we covered. And as the game went along, we saw Finesi and Marchino get more and more confidence. Both of them scored touchdowns last year when they played Marlington here and Central Howard. So this is a team who can definitely get things going. It's just a matter of how quickly, but you don't want to be down 10-0 or 6-0 or whatever once those things get going.
That's right, John. And Green really needs to make a defensive stop right here and get the football back before Copley gets a chance to put more points on the board.
And Copley seemed a little bit confused on that one, but able to get away is Garden as he's going to the left, is bowling over the Green defense. And again, rolling out to midfield, just about midfield, and they're going to mark it at about the 48-yard line. And this, I'll tell you what, Lloyd Garden looks like he came ready to play because he's knocking people over left and right.
And John, one of the, as we'll set the Copley offense for you, wide receivers Frank Matese and Jay Arnold, running backs are Lloyd Garden and Jamie Kaufman, tight end Eric Betts, and the quarterback, that rollout quarterback Fahim Dix. Copley offensive line, Joe Harris, Matt McDonough at the tackles, Joe Cato and Paul Jacob at the guards, and Rob Croft is your center.
And Arnold was able to take that pass in the right flat, and he was knocked down for about a 3-yard gain. And it's going to make it about 2nd and 7. And Copley's not going to be afraid to put the ball up and do anything they can to keep these chains moving and get down into Green, deep into Green territory, and possibly score.
They will definitely mix it up, John. They have no choice. This is not the type of team that can depend in one area. They have a good quarterback who can throw the ball. They have a young running back who's not going to be able to take every carry. But obviously, as we see right here, give him a couple rests between carries, and he's going to do a great job for you. One thing John and I noticed before the game, folks, Lloyd Garden has legs like you would not believe. This is a 9th grader, and he has got tree stumps for legs. So obviously he's the type of kid that can just get it churning. He reminds me a little bit, I hate to make comparisons like this, but, you know, thighs like that reminds you of Earl Campbell. That's the type of guy who has that low center of gravity and can break tackles.
Yeah, you definitely hit it right on the head with the old tree stump analogy, because they were huge, and we were surprised at how big they were. And he keeps those churning. And that offensive line keeps hitting, and they're going to keep moving him forward. About 3 yards that time for Garden. And what I guess just shocks you the most is he's 5'9", or he's 5'11", 195, and that is just great size. This kid's only 14 or 15 years old. I mean, that's the most amazing thing about him. He's a freshman.
And, John, I haven't seen this impressive a running back at the 9th grade level in this area since a young man named Ricky Powers, who was just about the same age as I was. I played against him in high school. He was a very impressive freshman also.
And most of them play for freshman teams, as Kaufman goes over the left side for a gain of about 3. Most of them play for freshman teams. They don't even see the varsity level because teams are working on chemistry and getting things together. But obviously this kid is so talented that he's going to get in there and see as much playing time as possible. And thus far, Green hasn't found a way to stop him.
That's right, John. Another reason is because coaches don't want to rush a young man too quickly. Obviously, a coach doesn't want to put a player in there. Talented, maybe not ready mentally for that type of game. It looks like Garden is.
Dix is going to roll to his left, and he's going to keep it himself and try and juke the Green defense, but they will have nothing of that. Thus far, whenever Green is rolled, or Dix has rolled out, Green defense has strung it out well, and it's going to be 4th down, and I believe Copley is going to punt as they're going to try to play the position game. You know, you were mentioning that about the young kids. When you are a freshman in that, you want to come in and naturally you want to play. Everyone wants to play, but sometimes you have to stay within yourself and realize that coaches have things a little bit set in their mind coming in. It's just that when you have your chance to play, you make the most of it. But if you complain and that kind of thing, it's only going to hurt you. So a good thing for having a freshman who's going to come in and willing to play, but that the coaching staff sticks with him and gives him that chance also. The punt is away, and calling for the fair catch is Norvell. He's going to take it at about his 10-yard line. That ball was kind of a knuckleball through the air. Norvell calling for the fair catch, and Green will start 1st and 10 from their own 10.
Green really needing to get something going on offense. On the first series, the Bulldogs had a lot of difficulty getting the offense alive. Copley really did a nice job defensively on that first series, but look for Green to get a couple first downs here. They need to pick up about 5 or 6 on first down.
And they also, can't be afraid to open things up a little bit, and let's see if this passing game can get going. They're deep in their own territory, obviously. Won't be afraid to do things, but with Magro back there, we'll see if they can mix it up. And the first play is going to be a pass that's intercepted, and it was right to him, straight square. Magro hit him on the numbers. The problem was it was Fahim Dix, who's quarterbacks for the other team. He must have known that call because it was right to him, right in the breadbasket. And just like that, Copley turns the ball over, or Green turns the ball over, and something that Green is going to have to watch throughout this game.
And Dix from Copley, he had to have been a little bit startled by that play. he looked up at the quarterback, and before he knew it, the ball was between his numbers. And now Copley, obviously, with a great opportunity to score on the 7-yard line of Green. Dix will be running offensively now, too.
Somebody obviously missed an assignment that time on offense, not really realizing that they were the intended receiver. And because Brian Maggle's pass went straight into the breadbasket of Dix. Dix is going to hand it to the right side, and Garden's going to bust over and take it to about the 5-yard line. A good thing, I guess, here is to see if your Green defense can stand up the way they have thus far this season. First time they did, they only gave up 3 points. Giving up 3 is not a bad thing in this kind of a situation.
That's true, John, but I'll tell you what, that's an awful lot to ask of your defense to keep putting them in these situations. They certainly don't want to be in this position throughout the game, but Copley is doing exactly what we said they need to do to have a chance in this game, and that's keep themselves on offense most of the time.
And they'll try to get this play underway, and they are unable to, as that is the end of the first quarter. And at the end of the first quarter, your Giuseppe's scoreboard will show the scores. Copley, the visiting Copley Indians 3, and the Green Bulldogs 0. That first quarter was quick, but we are going to be back with you shortly after this break.
How big are the submarine sandwiches at Captain Nemo's?
Oh, some were that big, and that big.
They good.
Good. Captain Nemo's will build your hot or cold sandwich using any combination of meats, cheeses, and vegetables. Or for a change of pace, try one of Captain Nemo's salads, dinner entrees, or side order selections like an assortment of French fried veggies. Captain Nemo's, with 3 Akron locations to serve you.
Legend has it that Hamilton Carhart was attacked by a big old grizzly back in '89. Lucky for him, he was wearing his Carhartt overalls. Those sharp old bear claws couldn't penetrate that Carhartt material. Now, Hamilton was always bragging about how tough his Carhartts were. And if you asked me, I expect he provoked that bear just to prove it.
We're back at you, and Copley ready to set. They are on the 5-yard line and looking to score again. It's second down. Dix under center and takes the snap. He rolls back, holding on to the football. Looks like a quarterback sneak, and he's in. No, it's going to call him down on the 1-yard line. And John, I really thought he got in that time. He was flipped up, and it actually went heels over head that time, and I thought he got into the end zone.
Yeah, he actually got knocked backwards when he was lunging forward, but a saving tackle at time, and they're going to mark it at the 1-yard line. And a good call, too, and it wasn't a fumble. Obviously, you saw the ball scored up in the air, but the reason the ground obviously can't cause a fumble. And what seemed to be an easy touchdown as Dix rolled to his left is now a 3rd and goal.
It was a nice job by Ron Carlson, the outside backer for Green, to make that stop.
Garden is going to get stacked up, and Mike, this Green defense has come ready to play, and they're going to do everything in their power to keep things low as
Marquardt and Dobshaw on the tackle that time for Green. And John, this brings up a tough call right now. You know that Green has a type of defense that could stop you right here, and then it would stymie an almost sure scoring opportunity.
Yeah, but if I'm Copley, I'd like to keep them buried deep if I'm not going to score. And what I was saying is that Green's going to do everything they can to keep that score low, to get that offense going, because thus far the offense has had only 4 plays. They've had a fumble and an interception. A fumble that they recovered, an interception, of course, went the other way, and this is why Copley has the ball, and they're going to call timeout, talk things over on the sidelines, make sure that they have things straight, because this is a key play for them early on in this game. And then, Mike, speaking of early in this game, thus far, pretty impressive by this Copley Indian squad, the offense. Not doing things we expected, but at the same time, Coach Borman said coming in that that they're not going to be afraid to mix things up, and that they're going to come out and they want this Green, Bulldog squad, and they're doing everything they can right now in, following just what he said.
Yeah, I'm impressed with their flexibility on offense. Obviously, when you get the ball on a 7-yard line, you don't have to have much of an offense to score, but on their first drive, they look pretty impressive. On their second drive, they moved the ball relatively well, and now they have an opportunity to put another score on the board. And I am impressed by their flexibility, the way that they've mixed things up. Dix had to call a timeout right there because the play clock was running down on him, but that's certainly not a bad call right there. You're 4th down and you're trying to score. You better make sure that you know what you're doing.
We've seen teams this year that have had the good quarterback to send them out. Thus far, Green has been all over the quarterback rolling wide. If I'm Copley, I'm giving the ball to Garden because he's been my most effective offensive player thus far, and he showed that he can bowl some guys over.
Absolutely. Make them stop Lloyd Garden right here.
4th and goal from the 1. The handoff is going to go to Garden to the right. He's going to bounce off some tacklers. He's going to plunge it in, just getting enough, but that he only needed a yard. And over right side, Garden, and that's definitely the call.
And I'll tell you, John, had that been on the 2-yard line, Gordon may not have scored, as Green did a pretty nice job of breaking the play to the outside. But Garden, with the big, strong legs, got in the end zone, and now Copley's up 9-0, and really quite a surprise this far.
They hit Garden initially at the line of scrimmage and able to wrap him up and bring him down, but unfortunately a yard too late was John Dickerson on the tackle. And doing the kicking is Jamie Kaufman. The snap is back, and for the extra point, it is up and no good. You know, on the other end of the field, we thought it was no good and it was good, and on this end of the field, we thought it was good and it was no good, and that's a break for Green, as they'll take any kind of break they can get thus far.
Yeah, that is a break for Green, although right now all Green's worried about is getting that offense going. They need to come out, run some plays, keep that chalkboard from the locker room going here. We got to get something going. Coach Hominy out there with his kicking team, he's got to be a little bit discouraged right now, but certainly not the type of discouragement that he doesn't think he can come back. He knows that he has a very strong offensive squad that can put points on the board in a hurry, and I think this is going to be a nice sustained drive for Green. I don't think that they're going to come out sloppily like they did in the first 2 series.
Well, they've got a 9-0 deficit, but they've got 10 minutes and 40 seconds. As you see the score, Copley 9 and Green 0 on the scoreboard. And pregame and halftime and postgame show is brought to you tonight by Giuseppe's, who is sponsoring tonight's game. We, of course, want to thank them for sponsoring tonight's game, and we'll cover the rest of the advertisers. And we also want to thank D'Angelo's, who is the providing the food for the production staff, and we'll make sure we talk about all of them before this evening is out, as Copley will kick once again, and there's 10:40 left in this half, and Green will try to get things underway. The kick is up, and it's a short kick, but it's high, as Norville is able to snag it high, but I believe he stepped out of bounds. The ball fell, he kicked it just about to the right side of the sidelines, and Norville grabbing it above his head and then stepped out of bounds when he spun and picked it up.
And Green obviously not where they wanted to start, but they'll take anything right now. There's a shot of D'Angelo's Place, the official food supplier to the 1993 football production crew. We'd like to thank Joe Odo and the gang over at D'Angelo's. They always provide the good eats for us before the game, and we are certainly appreciative of D'Angelo's Place. And Green will set on offense right now, the ball on their own 18-yard line. So once again, the Bulldogs with a long way to go.
Magwar's going to roll, actually hand it off to the right side. He fooled everyone, including me on that one. I thought he had it to his left side, but the run went over right. Marchino with the carry and 6 yards on first down, and that is a good start. And something that Green is going to need to do is start to sustain that running game and then move on to the passing game as they go along. Copley's defense had a big time problem last week with the passing offense, but Green obviously is going to have to set that running offense first.
Yeah, the Indians gave up 4 touchdowns through the air last week, and I'm sure Green wouldn't have a problem doing that this week.
Handoff is going to go to Finesi to the right side, and he's going to be gang tackled. You know, really, Mike, the big key here is just getting some things that's going to get the confidence going, whether it's passing, running, anything. Green just needs to find some plays that are working against this Copley Indian squad, who almost seems as if they have 12 guys in the field every time because they've been everywhere.
Absolutely, John. They're not even looking for a big play right now. They just want a first down. They need to sustain a drive. A first down would be great. I think Green just needs to get the things going. Maybe throw a pass right here, but just get themselves a first down. 3rd
down and 7, a key play for Green early. Magwar's going to go back, and he is confined, over the top. And I tell you, the defense kind of released a little bit early, as snagging the pass was number 86, Todd Harrelson. And Harrelson, it was defended completely, but the Copley defense thought Magwar was going to run and try to come up and help, and it left Harrelson wide open. Magwar hit him right on the numbers, and there's the confidence factor as they get things moving. And something that was just handed to us by our statisticians tonight, which is nice to have, Tony Winkler and Mike Conley, is that Green trailed Bishop Reedy 13-0 after 1 and led them 20-13 at the half just a couple weeks ago. So we'll see if they can do the same tonight. And bowling his way forward is Marchino, as he just put his head down and carried a few Copley guys and got about 3 yards on first down.
And John, if we could go back to the pass on the first that made the first down, what was impressive about that, and the one advantage to having a player like Magro, who is such a great athlete, like you mentioned, the Copley defenders almost had to commit to Magro running the ball because he's so dangerous on the ground that it left Harrelson open, and they were able to complete that first down pass. And that's something we could see a lot tonight, them keying on Magro and leaving receivers open.
Yeah, and Copley wants to key on Magro because obviously if they can keep him in the pocket, that's key. When he starts rolling out, they're going to have to set 3 guys on him. And there he goes on that rollout. And what a pass down about the 30 and then knocked out of bounds at the 25. It's Brandy Norvell as Magro rolled to his left. A huge block that time put on by, I believe, Finese, as he just rolled his defender right onto his back and was able to give Magro the time to find Norvell down the field and moving those chains for Green.
And John, if somebody was questioning Brian Magro's arm strength before, there certainly is no question right there. Rolling to his left, throwing against his body, and throwing about 30 yards downfield. Magro's a very impressive quarterback. There's no doubt about it. Timeout by Copley. They're suddenly stunned by this Green offense, but hey, if Magro's going to get that kind of time to throw, he's going to eat up this Copley defense.
You know, and it's kind of interesting, Mike, is that they would call a timeout on this. I think this is a good move because it's kind of like in basketball when you can kind of feel the other team getting the momentum. Even though they're down 9 points, hey, let's settle our defense down and let's get these guys ready. Okay, you gave up some big yardage, but it's Ben, let's not break. We're up 9 points because we feel like they're up 9 points, but you feel all the momentum shifting to Green on just 2 quick plays like that.
And what's interesting, John, is that in football, the timeouts seem to be a little bit more important than they do in basketball because of running clock down. But this is a pretty good call by Borman to call this timeout right here. It might seem a little bit unusual, but I think it's a pretty good call. For Green, all they need to do is just keep doing what they have been doing. The offensive line is giving Magro all kinds of time. Finese on that play actually took out about 2 or 3 defenders, not just one. I mean, a super block. Actually, what I think happened is the Copley defenders thought he was carrying the ball and actually went for a tackle on him, so he was able to take 3 players out of the play right there.
First and 10. This is Green's best drive thus far. They are on the 24 of Copley. This is their 3rd drive. They had no previous luck in the last 2. Magro fakes the quick hit. He's going to roll to his right, see if he can find anybody. And there's a deep pass that hits the goal marker. And wise at time, and as we saw Brian Magro's athleticism that time, able to elude the defender. Oh my. Oh, there's a huge call because late, I've never seen a call that late in my life, Mike. That was basically calling a penalty in the second quarter, in the third quarter. I mean, what was he doing there?
John, that penalty, is this a penalty for the next play?
That's what I'm wondering.
I've never seen a flag thrown that late.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
It was not the referee's call right there. It was the back judge's call. The back judge did not make the call. The line judge, the side judge did not make the call. I'm just very surprised by that call right there.
And you know, the most shocking, and this is what's going to hurt Green the most, is it's from the line of the infraction. It's a 5-yard penalty and it's loss of down. And wow, that's a shocker there. I mean, that's the latest call I've ever seen in my entire life, but obviously a call they felt they had to make. There was a receiver in the area, so I'm not exactly sure why the call was made, but it was made. So it's 2nd down and a long way, Mike. That's a millennium. 2nd down and
we got 27 to go here, John. Magro obviously in a passing situation for Green.
Handoff this time goes to Finese. He's going to roll over about 6 yards. And obviously, if you're Green, you're upset because you're like going, hey, guys, we're at home. You know, give us a little bit of help there. But they have to call it the way they see it. And 2nd down and 27 now makes it 3rd down and about 22 as they got about 5 on that play, going down to about the 36-yard line.
And that's a real backbreaker, John, because they had a nice drive going, had moved the ball down certainly into scoring position for the Bulldogs, and now have gone back significantly.
Magro has a guy over the middle, but the ball is shot through long. I think he released it a little bit later, and he, obviously earlier than he wanted to. It was intended for John Dickerson, but Dickerson was releasing, but a little bit late as the ball went to the turf. Interesting call here. It's 4th down and a millennium. Do you go for it here, even though you're in their territory? It's 4th down and 21, but they're on the 36-yard line. This is the iffy area.
I think we're going to get Hominy calling a timeout right here to give himself another couple minutes to decide. They're definitely going to get a timeout. You can see Magrill taking it right there. This is such a tough call that you don't want to make it too hastily. I think you go for it right here.
Pretty much want to say this is a gray area for green.
Well, that's a good point, John. But on the 35-yard line, I think you go for it. You let Magrill drop back. You've had many open receivers on this drive, so
well, you know, another thing about
you'll
him,
have another one.
Yeah, and he's such a good athlete. He can roll back, and if he feels threatened at all, he can just try to pooch kick it real quick, too, over top the defensive line. Hominy took the timeout to try to slow things down, 4th down and 21. And we just want to put in, a quick disclaimer for ourselves that as we look at the Giuseppe scoreboard, Copley's up 9-0. We don't mean to, obviously, cut on the officials or rag on them in any kind of way, but we're calling the game the way we see it from up here in the booth. And if we see a bad call, we're going to tell you. But if we see a good call, we're going to let you know that also. And you saw it on the monitor, so you can call it however you want to call it. And if you, obviously, the people in the stand saw it one way, but the officials saw it another. But when it comes right down to it, the guys in the black and white shirts are the guys that make the call. So 4th down and 21 is what is facing green. And all that momentum that they seem to have is just like, seemed to just sapped away.
And now that momentum is sitting out in the middle of nowhere right now because it's tough to really say who has the momentum right now. Copley doesn't have it. They haven't done anything to stop green right here, but it's slowed down by green. And
Magrill's going to keep it himself, and he's going to run on the quarterback keeper. It's something we know he can do. And Copley is going to hold him to only a gain of about 12. It gets him back to the original line of scrimmage where Copley will take over from the 24-yard line. And Copley was probably holding their breath pretty bad. It was kind of a prevent. Hold them to 20 if you have to, no matter what, for the Copley Indians.
And that's a nice call that time by Green. I think that was a quarterback delayed draw all the way right there. Offensive line did a nice job of sending the defenders to the outside, and Magrill took the ball upfield. But it's on the 24-yard line, John. A punt in that situation would have likely gone into the end zone and would have started Copley at the 20 anyway, so maybe not much lost right there.
Dix is under center. He has two wideouts to his right. The play is going to go to the left. And getting good yardage on 1st down, and there's a flag, and I believe that's going to be a hold at about the 20, moving back. You made a good point, Mike, about the momentum. It doesn't really seem to be anywhere right now. It's almost as if it's just huddling above the players right now, ready for one team to snatch it forward. And right there, Copley getting good yardage, but just as it got the good yardage, they were going to call him for a penalty. I believe it's a clip, and that's going to move them back from the infraction, which is at the 26-yard line, so we'll see what the call is.
For Copley, thus far, Lloyd Garden, the freshman running back, has done most of the damage offensively, although we have seen quarterback Fahim Dix roll out a couple of times, and he is an impressive athlete as well as Green quarterback Magrill. But on that 4th down play by Green, you could really see the athleticism of Magrill, and you can understand why he's one of the area's top track stars, because he's got a set of legs on him that is really tough.
This is a huge penalty against the Copley Indians. As we said, Mike, that momentum is above the field, but just when Copley looked like they were going to snatch it, the Green defense seemed to pull it down themselves. It's going to move them all the way back to their own 11-yard line. Thus far, this Green Bulldog defense has been nothing short of outstanding. Having a goal line stand and what seemed to be a second goal line stand, only giving up the 9 points deep in their own territories. The handoff is going to go right, and Gardner's going to blow through, and that's a 1st down and 23, and he gets 14 of it back, so that makes it a 2nd and 7. And this kid is impressive.
He certainly is, John. I am very impressed. He's got such strong legs, and he makes nice cuts. This certainly doesn't look like a kid who's playing his 4th high school game. Lloyd Garden is going to be a name to remember in this area in years to come.
He's going to be named to remember in the league this year probably. I'm sure every team is going to start keying on this guy. Wow, what a great defensive play that time. As running to the left side was number 21, Eric Toppin, and normally a wide receiver. Toppin took the carry and went nowhere, actually lost 2 on the play.
Ted Gray made the stop on that play, number 33 for Green. Gray is a 6-foot, 200-pound senior who, along with Shockley, makes up quite a formidable linebacking duo.
I tell you, that was a hit, too. He picked him, wrapped him, and delivered him on that one. Loss of 2, 3rd down and 9. Dix is going to roll to his right and roll it out. And once again, as they pull down behind the line of scrimmage, big shaka here is Jake Shockley taking him to the ground and putting Dix down. Great play that time of the Green defense. And once again, they're stringing that out to the left or right. They're able to run down Dix before he can even have a chance to pass the ball.
And that's very impressive by Shockley, because Dix obviously is athletic. He's pretty quick. Shockley showing some speed right there. Shockley comes into this season as one of the most feared, one of the fiercest, one of the toughest players in the Suburban League. He's done nothing to dispute that tonight.
Norvell will return this punt as it is away, and it's a high and it's kind of a long punt, and the ball is going to be hit, and it's going to let it bounce. I don't even know why Norvell is going close to the ball. Obviously, you want him to run away from it, but the ball rolls all the way back to the 25-yard line. Norvell just wasn't far enough back, and I don't think he thought that the punter would kick it that far. And it's kind of a shot because thus far he hasn't. And he had a high, deep kick that went over his head, and it took a Copley roll down to the 25.
John, that was about a 30-yard punt in the air and about 27 yards on a roll, but it doesn't matter how it gets there. It's still a 57-yard punt. And Green's got a long way to go again. Yeah,
and it's another something in this game that's just rolled against Green. You think you're going to get the great field position, and suddenly a punter puts a little bit extra leg into it and a little bit higher and longer than you think it's going to go, and you're sitting back on your own 25, 1st and 10, with 5 minutes left in this game, or in this half, excuse me. Magro rolling to his right. He's looking long down the field, and he has a receiver, Finisi. Oh my, as it hit him in the hands and just fell to the turf. And I don't know if the Copley defender got a hand in. Arnold, I believe, was on Finisi. Oh, did that
John,
hurt?
I think that's just a case of Finisi looking touchdown before he had the football. He might have seen Green in front of him. Excuse the pun. I think he saw 6 right there.
Funny guy.
And just didn't bring in the football before he started running with it. That you could just hear a big sigh in the.
Not in the press box. You could hear a big yell because we have the entire stats and coaching staff next to us, and they were definitely not happy with that. Pitch is going to go to Fanucci. They're going to go right back to him. He's going to bowl over and get about 4. And I like this kind of a play here. Good call by Hominy because, yeah, he dropped the ball far down the field, and yeah, he probably was looking for Green, but they go right back to him, get him the ball, and say, hey, get this confidence going. And now the crowd is booing because they feel the forward motion was about 2 or 3 yards further, as did I, and somehow a 4-yard gain turns into 1, and it's 3rd and 9.
And really what happens right here is it forces Green to have to put the ball up again. Now they could run a draw or something like that, but it really forces them to go to the pass.
Yeah, you have to let Magro almost roll out on this to let him do what he can do because of his athleticism. He finds a short receiver and not far enough, and
Carlson was wide open downfield across the first down marker, and I think if they had that thing to do over again, they probably would have gone to Carlson and picked themselves up a first down.
Green thus far has been taking out the gun and shooting themselves in the foot, but they've got a long, long way to go. They're only down 9. They've got a full half to go, and they still have 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in this half. Put it behind you, fellas. It's time to keep moving on. They're going to have to punt, though, 4th down and 3.
Arnold deep for Copley to field this punt. Not much of a rush. Punt is away. It's a decent punt. Arnold does not take the fair catch, which is a very chancy play. Stop made right away by Green. Number 67 for Green, Sam White on the tackle.
But once again, Mike, Copley starting off with good field position. They are starting on their own 40-yard line, which has been key thus far in this game. They've been around the 40. They've started the 35, the 40, and the 49 thus far in this game, whereas Green has started their 25, their 18. I mean, things are going Copley's way in the first half. But remember, there's 4 quarters to a game. Dick's under center. He has his backfield of Garden and Kaufman, and Dick's going to roll to his right, and the ball is dropped short. And forward progress is going to take him out to about the 43.5, 44-yard line. Good quick hit that time for Copley.
Yeah, John, I'm pretty impressed by these 2 quarterbacks, Dix and Magro. Both of them are good rollout quarterbacks. They're both pretty good athletes, and they have strong arms. I think Magro's arms are significantly stronger than Dix's, but I'm impressed by both of them. They both look like they can run a high school offense very, very well.
Yeah, I like the fact that they keep using Arnold also. As we have seen, he is a good athlete. Garden's going to take it to his right, and Shockley's going to roll out, and there's a flag thrown in at about the 46-yard line right on top of Shockley. I believe there's probably a hold right in behind it as they tried to spring Garden over the right side as they're going to huddle in there, and it's going to be against Green. It's a face mask on Shockley, and that's going to give them the first down. If it's from the line of the infraction, it'll give them the first down, and it'll move them to about the 50-yard line, maybe just slightly over the 50, and put them into Green territory.
That's a tough one right there on Shockley, because it's the first time today that it's only taken one tackler to bring down Garden. This is going to be a 15-yarder, so that's certainly a big penalty. Shockley, we mentioned before, one of the most feared players in this league, if not the most feared player. Shockley came into this game with 31 tackles in 3 games, so this is a guy that's bringing down a lot of ball carriers.
Yeah, he really is, Mike, and he has been tough throughout this game. The face masking can go either 5 or 15 yards, and the large infraction, of course, was put on that time by Green. Dix is going to roll to his right and string it out, and they've done that well each time. Is that when Dix has been keeping the ball, they've been on it. But one thing that I noticed that Copley is really doing well is that they're using a lot of people in a lot of the talent areas and using them well.
And John, they have what seems to be a relatively quick offensive line. A couple times on some of the runs that Garden has broke for pretty good yardage. There's been a tackle or a guard downfield blocking for him. When you can get your offensive lineman downfield, it makes a running back like Garden that much more effective, because he doesn't have to break every tackle his linemen are taking out would-be tacklers.
Second down and a long 8. Dix is going to roll to his left. He's looking to find out when he's going to go back to his right. And what looked like a push in the back, and there's your flag as Dix found a receiver. And there's a shove in the back there at about the 48-yard line. That's coming back, I'll guarantee it. That's going to go for 10 yards, and actually it's going to be an 18-yard penalty. Actually, it'll be a 33-yard penalty because it was put 8 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and it's going to send it back 15 after that, and that was a good call.
I agree, John. I actually thought we'd see illegal push in the back right there rather than a clip, but clip that much more yardage back for Copley, but that's certainly a good call right there. The official had his eye on the offensive lineman the whole time right there. He did a nice job of throwing that flag. There wasn't a whole lot of contact being made right there, but the infraction was made, and the call definitely had to happen.
And the thing about that is, too, is that Dix probably would have been able to get around Patton if, by himself, because he had an entire row of blockers, and there wasn't a lot of green pursuit had gone past him. And really, there was a 5-on-1 there, and unfortunately, the one that did try to take out Patton hit him from behind, and it cost him huge. And it's going to be 3rd and 34. And they're just going to hand it off to Garden and let him go up the middle. He's going to get about 3 or 4 in the play, and Copley will have to punt. And if you're Green, once again, a huge defensive stand.
Yeah, super job by the Green defense. They made the big plays when they had to on that drive by Copley, and it's actually going to be a 3rd down right here for Copley. Gain of 1 yard on that play for Copley, and it's 3rd down 33, they tell us in the press box. John, you don't see too many 3rd down plays that have to go this far for.
Yeah, you got that right, Mike, and they hadn't switched the yard marker over this, so I apologize. I was putting Green punting before I had to. And they're going to hand off once again to Garden. He's got a lot of green in front of him, and able to wrap him up at about the 50 and bring him down was a host of tacklers, and he came up, got about 12 on the carry, but still 20 yards short. And basically, if you're Green, you can hold him to 31. It's fine. Well, actually, maybe not there. You want to hold him to at least 20 because you want to make him punt. And there's 2 flags down on the play, one deep at about the 32 and then one at about the 42, and we'll have to see what the calls are this time.
We got another clip on Copley, and boy, you want to talk about sending yourself backwards. If you're Green, you have a 4th down, you almost consider taking this penalty just because it drives them back so much further. A nice play that time by Ray Giardina of Green, who took on Garden one-on-one and was able to slow him down until he got help.
It's amazing how far back they have gone this time. The original line of scrimmage, Mike, is at Green's 39-yard line, and they are already back within their 15. They're back to their 14-yard line. The clock is going to roll. It's a $1:20 left. 3rd down and 54. And they were over here adding it up. They're like 5'10". They had guys with hands, shoes off. No one was really sure how far this really was. That's an amazing. I've never seen a 3rd down this long. We're just going to sit back and watch this play because they get 54 yards on this one. As Dix is going to roll to his left. And he did a bad thing there by running out of bounds because it stops the clock for him.
And you got a feel for Fahim Dix right there. We'll take a quick break right.
Copley is set to punt. Oh, and Green runs forward, and they're going to have another flag. Mike, this is unbelievable. This was like last week when we saw all the penalties. We're getting a ton again tonight. The 3rd and 54, just so you know, if you're scoring at home, turned into a 4th and 40. And it's going to be a false start on Copley, so that's going to be 4th and 45. And if we'll notice, Brandy Norvell is way, way back this time because he's going to try to run into the ball this time and take it and use his athleticism and get Green as good a field position as possible because they have 57 ticks left on this clock, and we know Green can score and score quickly. So this will be interesting the last minute of this half.
That's right, John. And as the punt gets away there, it's a very short punt, and if Norville's going to let this one bounce, Green's going to have the football and going to have about 3/4 of a minute to do something with it offensively. It's about the 44-yard line. We'll call it the 44. And, John, on that third down play for Copley, you kind of had to feel for Fahim Dix. Foreman sent a play out there, and basically he said, okay, Dix, you're one man, you take on 11 and try to get us 54 yards. I'm not sure the call.
And you know the thing, what was bad about it is he ran out of bounds. 1, stopped the clock, and 2, they had another clip on the play, which Green declined because they wanted the ball back with as much time as possible. They've got 39 seconds to go, 56 yards, and Magler's going to go back and loft it. Oh, and it's just past the outstretched hands of Brandy Norvell and falling to the turf, and there's 32 seconds left now. I think Norvell wanted a call on that play.
And I think we're going to have an offsides right there on the Indians. We'll get the call right here. No, we're going to have a procedure call on Green. It looked to me like Copley had jumped, but apparently it was because of some illegal motion by Green. But I think what Magrill thought right there is it was a free play, so he went for it all down the sidelines with Norville.
Why not? It was a timing pattern just past the outstretched hands. On that kind of play, you're glad it falls at the turf then, because if you catch it, it kind of hurts you inside. This way, hey, no big deal, we lost 5 yards. Let's go back and try this again. But now just 32 seconds left, and now they're at their 39-yard line. So actually they went a little bit backwards there, and they lost more time. But we're pretty much sure that they're going to be putting the ball down the field, so watch for Brandy Norvell on this play.
Carlson in motion. He's also a deep threat receiver for Green.
And there's the handoff ahead of Finese. This is something we saw Coventry do, kind of the old statue play where he stands in one position, then they hand it to him forward and let him run. Finese gets about 5 on it. They tried a change of venue on that, and they lost 10 seconds, but they are going to move to 2nd and about 10, and Green's going to take a timeout. Time is running thin here, Mike, for this Green Bulldog squad in the first half.
But the one thing that they don't have to worry about is Copley getting the football back, so they might be able to take some chances here. That's one play that when I attended Copley's practice yesterday, that's one thing that I overheard the coaches telling their players about. They said, hey, look, defense, this is a play that Green has used, this wrap-around, delayed handoff. We saw it earlier in the season for Coventry, like you mentioned, big plays for Coventry, and they had the potential to get a big play right there for Green, but 2 of the left side defenders for Copley hung loose a little bit on that play and were able to make the stop.
Down 9-0, 22 seconds left, and Green, obviously, Mike, they're probably going to be moving the ball as far downfield as possible. Probably have 3 plays left, so we'll see if 3 plays can result in 55 yards.
Green still does have 1 timeout remaining. They used one on the 4th down play earlier and 1 right there, so they do have a timeout in their pocket.
Back is Magro, and they try to, and then he was wrapped up initially and then brought down from behind, and Magro was more than a little bit upset, but great defense that time by Copley.
And Magro did have some time right there. Obviously could not find a receiver. He did have pretty good time, maybe another half a second, and he gets a pass off right there, but you could tell that he didn't want to force it downfield, so he was a little bit more concerned about throwing an interception right there and took a sack.
Paul Jacob on the tackle that time was able to hit Magro initially, and then as he was falling to the ground and it seemed Magro was going to get away, he wrapped him up around the ankles and brought him down. Magro upset that he couldn't get away, and 3rd and 13 from their own 42 with 11 seconds left in the first half.
And really, Magro could have maybe tried to run the ball upfield right there. It looked like he had some open field in front of him, and the worst case scenario in a situation right there is he only picks up 15, but he likely gets out of bounds, and it sets up a first down for them, and with only about 40 yards to go with the clock stopped.
One thing we'll have to watch for, Mike, in the games last year we noticed, one game was dry, but as the night went on, this grass became very, very slick, so we'll have to watch the footing in the second half of the running backs and the receivers.
And especially the quarterbacks with 2 rollout quarterbacks.
Yeah, and it's really in the advantage of Green because this is their field and they're used to it, so we'll watch for that in the second half. Magro is back. He's going to drop it across the middle to Norvell, who's going to take it at about the 40. He's just he couldn't decide which way he wanted to go, and the entire Copley team and I think half of the student body was able to wrap him up, and they have 1 tick on the clock with 44 yards to go. And there's a player down for Green. I believe it's Jeremy Dobshaw, and we'll have to see because we can't really get a number from where we're at. That's something you definitely don't want to see. I don't care what time of the ball game it is because he looks like he's in a little bit of pain.
He really does, John, and I really didn't get an opportunity to see what happened right there as I was looking downfield. Norvell caught the pass over the middle of the field and really had a lot of room to work with, but all he could see in front of him was about 6 defenders right in his face, so wasn't able to. He tried to put on some moves and ended up losing about 2 yards after the catch, but Green with 1 tick left on the clock, I'm not sure they'll even get a play off right here.
Yeah.
Stopped and, like you said, have shot themselves in the foot a couple times. Dobshaw is taken off the field. Green's going to take the snap right as the clock goes off.
And they got it off. Magro's going to go back, and he's going to be under a huge rush, and the ball's going to be thrown forward. It's going to go into the end zone and tipped away. And, oh, the ball, it seemed as if Green had it. It falls down to the turf. Magro showed just what an arm he had there, throwing it on the run 50 yards into the end zone. And that is going to bring the first half to an end. They brought Jeremy Dobshaw off, and he's on the sideline, and they're tending to him right now. And at 8, he's going to try to elude tacklers, which he is doing. He's going to bring it back to his left, and there's got to be a penalty in there somewhere as a flag is thrown. I believe we're going to get a face mask. It was yanked down as he was at to about the 20, but really it might be a good penalty because he was getting by everybody, and who knows where he would have ended.
Here's a Green offensive line setting for you. Phil Marcourt, Jake Shockley, Ryan Gray, Sam White, and Jeremy Dobshaw. Dobshaw and White, the guards. Marcourt and Shockley, the tackles, and Gray is your center. And this is really the part of the Green offensive team that keeps things going for the Green offense. That's why Magrel's had so much time to throw tonight, is because of that Green offensive line. That is a 15-yard penalty on Copley right there. And what we're seeing right away is Green starting with the football in good field position, much like Copley did at the beginning of the first half.
Really, that's a break that goes Green way also because, I'm sorry, Copley's way, because it's a 15-yard penalty, but who knows how far Brandy would have gone. It might have cost him another 15 or 20 or possibly even a touchdown because Brandy had some room in front of him. And no play on that call, or no call on that play, excuse me, as Magro's going to roll to the right by himself. And I think this is something we're going to see, Mike. Good yardage on first down. Green's going to need to get that running game going, and the best place to start it is to make them start keying on Brian Magro, so it'll open things up for Marchino and company from the backfield.
And I don't think Coach Homney will have any problem with gathering seven yards on each first down carry. Steve Arnold and Matt McDonough are your Copley defensive ends. Steve Pyatt, Paul Jacob are the defensive tackles, and Adam Maurer and Eric Betts are your outside linebackers.
Second down and a long 2 for Green as they are closing in on midfield, an area they have not seen a lot of so far in this game. Magro under center takes a snap. He's going to hand to the right side, and Copley is all over that, but keeping his feet moving and bent over backwards was John Marchino. And a loss of about 2 on the play will make it 3rd and 4.
We're going to set the second half of the Copley defense. Inside linebackers Matt Brock and Bob Marquis. And I hope I said that right. We got that from one of the coaches. Frank Matese and Jay Arnold and Keith Casella are the defensive backs for the Indians.
Yeah, we thought it was Marquis, maybe Marquise, because we've seen both those, but it was Marquis according to the coaching staff, and we had to ask and ask twice. And Mikey did a very good job of setting that defense
Thanks,
for us.
man.
Thank you so much. Magro back to pass. He with the quick hit. Oh, it was in and out of the hands, and the hit was applied right as the ball reached Norville's hands, and Green is going to have to kick the ball away.
Nice defense that time by Frank Matese of the Copley Indians defensive backfield. He met Norvell right as the ball was getting there and made it almost impossible for Norvell to pull that pass in. Brings up a punting situation for Green. 24, the punter for Green is Rick Stokes, a 5'9", 155-pound junior.
And back to receive will be Jay Arnold, number 9 for the Copley Indians. And thus far, we've seen he's a great athlete. As soon as he gets his hand on the ball, he's an exciting player, and they're going to try to kick it away from him. And it's going to bounce at about the 34, and it's going to roll back all the way down within the 15, back to the 14, and it took a Green bounce. And Copley will take over from that position. You know, with Green, Mike, I guess something that's kind of striking is that they just can't seem to get anything underway. They've run so few plays on offense, and when they do get something going on under their way, it just isn't rolling. As we're going to set that Copley offense for you quickly. Frank Matese and Jay Arnold, all your wide receivers. Your running backs are Lloyd Garden and Jamie Kaufman. Lloyd Garden, solid back out of the backfield, and your tight end is Eric Becks, and of course your quarterback is Fahim Diggs.
And John, part of the problem for Green is their defense has spent so much of the game on the field. Copley's offense has done exactly what they wanted to do tonight, and that's stay on with the ball most of the time.
Dix takes the snap and hands it off to Garden to the right, and wrapping it up and delivering him was number 33, Ted Gray. And that's the second time we see Gray just reach in and take a hold of Garden and set him down quickly. Loss of 1 on the play.
Here's the Copley offensive line doing the job for Dix. Tackles Joe Harris and Matt McDonough. Center is Rob Croft, and your guards are Joel Cato and Paul Jacob.
2nd and 9 from the 15, and they gave him a gain of 1 instead of a loss of 1. They moved the stake around on us, which is going to happen. The pitch this time is going to go to the left to Garden, and they're going to try to string that out. And look who comes rushing forward and grabbing him from the ankles and taking him down is number 3, Ted Gray, once again. And I think Ted Gray may have gotten an assignment in the locker room. Hey, number 2 is yours.
Yeah, and that's kind of adjustment you'll see a coach make at halftime is they'll put a inside linebacker specifically on a running back, and all Gray is supposed to do then for this half is keep his eye on Lloyd Garden. Don't let him get out of his sight.
Well, thus far Lloyd Garden has hurt them, so why not do that and make the other guys, Jay Arnold and Dixon and company, come out and try to hurt you, because, hey, if they do that, then, you know, the hat's off to them. But we'll watch as Lloyd Garden throughout this half as rumbling forward, the ball is loose, and right there, Mike, and I believe they're going to call him down. But that could have been our first turnover of the second half, which we're going to watch because this ball is going to get slick because it is known to do that here at Green as the night goes on.
They are going to rule him down. We'll quickly set the Green defense for you. On the line are defensive ends Rick Brown and Dustin O'Day. The defensive tackles are Andy Patton and Matt Johnston. The nose tackle is Scott Baker. We'll set the rest of the Green defense for you. Inside linebackers Teddy Gray and Jake Shockley. The defensive backfield are the corners Ray Giardina and Ron Carsley, and the safeties are John Dickerson and Brian Magroll.
And I know Dix is going to roll to the right, and he is now, the ball was knocked to the turf, and number 27, Ray Giardina, had the entire field in front of him on that one. And they're going to,
John, that was a fine catch that time by Arnold. I thought the ball had hit the turf, but really, that was a great catch by Arnold. 6-yard pickup on first downs is exactly what Copley wanted.
The ball did go loose, Mike. I don't know what the call is there. I still don't understand it as Garden breaks into the secondary. And he's going to break to the right, and they better wrap him up quickly, and they do just that, pulling him down from behind as he got hit initially, and then Giardina was able to pull him down from behind. The ball hit the turf. I mean, I don't understand that. And we want to thank D'Angelo's Italian Place, who are our official food supplier for the 1993 football production crew. The D'Angelo's Italian Place, of course, setting us up, and we appreciate that because it was some good food. Chicken and whatnot, and if you want it, let them know because they've got it and it's good.
And D'Angelo's, we've never had a problem with the food before the game with D'Angelo's. It's always been great eats for our production staff. The crew, John and I get our hands on the grub also. We can't let good food like that go by.
They always seem to get there before us, though. They're a lot quicker than we are. Have you noticed that? We're slowing up in our old age, Mike, but that's okay because we still get our chance at it, which is key. And they are going to give them a first down and 10 at the 49. Good run again by Garden as he's closing in on 100 yards. And actually may have gone over at that carry. We'll have to see. This time the pitch is going to go to the right side, and it's going to be stacked up and brought down. That's Eric Toppin, who's actually a receiver, but he's a receiver and a back. And Toppin's going to get about 2, maybe 3 on the play. We're going to give him 3, second and 7.
One of the things about Toppin, Coach Borman made mention to me that Toppin will line up in a running back position, but many times go in motion, sometimes set up in the slot. So you can call him what you want. Call him a Mike Pritchard type of player, somebody who can actually be considered a running back or a receiver.
Second and 7 from the 48-yard line of Green. Copley somehow in business once again. The handoff's going to go to the right side, this time to Toppin as well. As A flag is going to be in on the play, and the ball seemed to came loose, but I'm sure they're going to call him down. And the flag came in late. This is most likely a hold, would you believe, or a face mask?
Now we did get the hold that time on Copley. This would be a third down play for Copley right here, but the holding will negate the yardage picked up by Toppin on that play. It's going to march them back, and actually what we'll have is a second down and very long. Looks like about 2nd and 15
Mike,
for Copley.
Mike, in discussing with Tony Winkler and Mike Conley, once again, that last run, on that 18-yard run, gave him 29 exactly for the second half, and Mr. Garden is now at the even century mark for this game. A freshman, remember that, folks, because you're going to be seeing him for about 4 years, and I think you're going to be seeing a lot of him. Dix is going to roll back. He is looking to pass across the middle, and we're going to get a flag late, and a good reception and run that time by number 81, Eric Betts, for a gain of about 10 on the play, and it's going to make it 3rd and 5, but there's a hold this time for Copley. We're going to bring it back. You know, Copley has had a tremendous amount of holds and clips throughout this game, and it's come from that offensive line. It kind of makes you wonder what exactly is going in on the interior, but I'll say one thing. They're going to protect their quarterback no matter what it takes.
Well, and you can understand that that's all those linemen have on their mind is keeping their quarterback on his feet, but John, maybe that's part of the reason why Dix has had so much time to throw back there. Every time that he has had pretty good time to throw in the pocket, it's because of a holding or a clipping penalty. As we mentioned, Copley had 4 penalties for 50 yards in the first half, and there were several that were declined.
Yeah, and we had a 3rd and 54 in the first half. Now it's 2nd and 29. We're going to take a break here real quickly, and we'll be right back with you. We're back, and we are more than a little bit sorry because while we were away, an interesting turn of events. How else do you put this but to just tell you what happened? Somehow on a punt, there was two penalties called. Green came up with the ball, had a 4th down and 15, which they completed on the 5. They got it by the hair of just a hair, Mike, a total hair. And the extra point is up, and it is right down the middle. And just like that, Green is right back in this ball game, down 9-7. Right after that play, they get 1st and 5. Mag will go straight forward. And on second call, just to bet, Mike and I bet Maraschino over the left side. Both of us were right as he went popping into the end zone for a touchdown. Maraschino, I'm sorry, I said Maraschino. I screwed it up now. Maraschino pops in for the touchdown. 9-7 is your score. Green is back in this game. Stay glued to those seats, folks, because Green, they got a little mo-mo.
That's right, John. Green back into it offensively, no question about it. That really was an interesting turn of events, John. Even if you had been able to see it, you might not have been able to figure out what exactly happened right there. But bottom line, John, Green now back in the game. It's 9-7. Big Mo is definitely on their side. They're kicking away right here. What Green needs to do is try to get this kickoff deep, pin the Copley Indians deep. Don't let a big run back in this situation. Give your defense the opportunity to keep this Big Mo on their side, because this type of defense that can make a big play, and you never know, Green could have this football back in no time.
Yeah, really, if they can just hold, because thus far for Copley, they've had great field position. It's what's hurt Green is they've had to establish their offense each time and have been unable to, and Copley has had field position this entire game. And now's when you want to take things over. Kind of a knuckleball kick. It's going to bounce to the 25. And it's going to be brought forward to about the 33-yard line. But the 33 is a lot better than the 49, Mike.
That's right, John. The opening kickoff, if you're just joining us, was taken by Copley and taken almost all the way out to midfield. Right here, the Bulldogs have at least stopped them a little bit deeper in their own territory. And Green heads out on defense. Copley, all they need to think about right now is picking up a 1st down. They shouldn't be thinking about moving the ball. on big plays downfield. They just want to swing that momentum their way a little bit, pick up one first down, and then they can settle down into their offense.
Yeah, and Green really has to be careful here, not give up that big play. They just want to stay sustained as we have another flag down, a bit of a hold. This is what has killed Copley. From the second quarter on, they've gone straight backwards because the offensive line is nothing but hold and clip, and they're killing them right now.
And John, what's amazing, we don't have the stats right in front of us. Maybe we'll get them by the end of the game. But John, I think that Copley has negative yardage since their last scoring drive. Significant negative yardage, John, because they have gone backwards every drive, and a couple times they've gone back, as we've seen earlier, as many as 20 and 30 yards.
Well, we've had a 3rd and 54, and last time we had a 3rd and 40, so things aren't looking up as when it comes right down to it. And right now we're going, it's from the infraction, which was deep in the backfield, so now it's 2nd down and about 21 or 22. 2:20 left in the 3rd quarter. Handoff is going to go up the middle, and that is Garden, as he's going to thrash through, and he's going to get back about 8 of it on 1st down. I said 2nd down, I apologize. It's 1st down, but it's now going to be 2nd and about 13.
Shockley and Norvell on the tackle, that time for Green. And the one thing in the locker room at halftime, the Green coaching staff had to have put it to their players that, look, somebody make contact with Garden and then everyone converge on him, because this is obviously not a type of kid that can be brought down with one arm or something. They need to have multiple tacklers on every play that Garden's involved with.
Dix is rolling right, and he's got a receiver, and that's going to be just past the 1st down marker. And Mike, as you said, it was key. They need to just keep, try to get something sustained. And what was a 1st and 20 is now a 1st and 10 as they've moved the allotted 20 yards, and they're going to get a 1st down. And we have a player limping off the field for Copley. It's number 7. Frank Matasia. So,
John, I think that's a huge play right there for Copley. I mean, granted, it was only about a 12-yard gain, but that's a huge play right there because they were able to pick up that 1st down. They can keep this drive alive. We're nearing the end of the 3rd quarter, and that was just a big play for the Indians.
And it starts getting that confidence back. And look at that. I'll tell you what, if we've called his name once, we've called it 10 times, because Ted Gray has decided that Mr. Lloyd Garden is his man, and he just wraps him up. And he was holding on for dear life, but he did just enough to hold it so the Green pursuers could come in and help. And no gain on 2nd down. That's huge when you're playing against Garden.
And John, I'll tell you, Ted Gray's a very strong young man. When he was a freshman, he was at Hoban High School, and I was his baseball coach. I know the kid. He's a very strong player. He has obviously gotten stronger in these ensuing years, and he is the one player on their team that's able to take down Garden by himself.
Garden goes to his right, keeps his feet moving. I thought he was going to be down after about 4, but instead gets a gain of 7. It's going to be 3rd and 3, and once again, Mike, they're right back to midfield.
Copley now with what looks like about a 3rd and 3, maybe a long 3 even. Shockley setting the defense for Green, and this really, John, could be one of the biggest plays for the Green defense. They really need a big stop right here. Force Copley to either go for it on a 4th down or punt.
Well, if I'm Green, I'm hoping that Dix rolls out, because you're guaranteed a penalty on that play. Oh, able to get back was Green as Garden takes to the right, and once again wrapping him up was Ted Gray as he held him while everyone else gets their shots. The other defensive players have to like Ted Gray because he holds them up for them, keeps them upright so they can all get a good shot in on the running back.
Yeah, Ted Gray, I'll tell you what, John, this is a very, very strong kid. Jake Shockley, another real strong one. They combined on that tackle right there. We went into this game thinking Gray and Shockley would be the big difference, and they have been. At the end of 3 there, the score at the end of 3 as we have come down heading towards the 4th quarter is Copley 9, Green 7. We'll take a quick break and bring you the final quarter in just a few minutes.
I don't want hamburger A or B. I don't want the hot separated from the cold. I know where the beef's at, and I don't have to run to the border either. I just need to go to Captain Nemo's.
Enjoy a made-to-order hot or cold submarine sandwich at any of Captain Nemo's 3 Akron locations.
Ooh, now I have just what I want.
Sunday Night NFL is on TNT because on Sunday you can never get enough.
He's going down.
And enough.
Touchdown. 10, 5, touchdown.
And never enough. Sunday, TNT takes the NFL into the night.
Because there's never enough football.
Sunday Night NFL is on TNT.
Regular season begins September the 5th on TNT.
9-7 Copley is your score. We are in the fourth quarter. Magro rolls back. He's going to break it loose himself as he uses the referee as a blocker. Breaks it around the left. It gets enough yardage for the first down. And he took a shot to get it there. Magro pops straight up, though. Strong young man as he moves it out to the 35, and Green is on the march.
That's right, John. Brian Magro really runs like a horse. The kid is impressive in the open field. Give him 10 on that play and give him a pretty nice run. First down for Green. They will try to sustain a drive right here. I agree, John. I think Green really has a great opportunity to march it all the way down the field right now. There's just some sort of air about it right now that makes you think Green's ready to do it offensively.
They've been contained the entire game, but found a way to get in the end zone last time as play is going to go right to Marchino. Just a note, Mike, Jeremy Dobson was brought out for the second half, and he has his entire left ankle wrapped up. He is out of pad, so he will not see action here in the second half, and we do not know the severity of the injury. Hopefully, you know, they definitely want to get him back as soon as possible, but he was in pain when he left, but he is up back on the sidelines for the second half. Second and 8 from their own 37. 9:38 left to go in this game. Magro's going to roll to the right. He's going to keep this one himself. The juke to the right. He's going across the 40, across the 50, and all the way down to the 43-yard line. And Mike, this is something that we've seen throughout the year. You have a quarterback with an athleticism such as Brian Magro. Let him go back and do as he must. If he sees a receiver, drop it off. If not, run like a deer, and that's what he's done.
Sure, John. Let your great athlete take the game over. Put a little dance step in there. I'm not real sure what that was. I'm not into the 90s dances.
Juke.
Okay, we'll call it a juke, but it was quite a move. It faked out enough Copley defenders to pick up another first down. And hey, let this guy move around back there. There's not a Copley defender that's going to catch up to him, so if he can roll around in the pocket and not find a receiver and break open the open field and gain 10 every time, they're going to have a lot of success on offense.
Magro first and 10. He's going to hand to the left side to Finese, who's going to get back to the line of scrimmage and then fall forward for about 1 on the gain. Good time by Finese that time to not lose yardage and actually get him a little because he was wrapped up by a host of Copley Indians. But he got him about a yard on the play.
Yeah, he really was fortunate to just get back to the line of scrimmage. As you see Ron Carlson running the play into Magro. A second down and 9. This is probably another type of play where you'll see Magro ad-lib a little bit. I think he'll drop back into a passing formation and then decide whatever the defense gives him.
Magro under center, takes the snap. The quick hit is out to Norvell, who's going to also use a little bit of a juke, Mike, and then brought down at about the 41-yard line. You know, Mike, for as good as Green defense has been, we're down at a 3rd and 1, and you kind of have to wonder if you're not in the 4-down territory now, down by 2 points with 8.5 minutes to go.
And this is, well, I think, John, this is where Coach Joe Hominy has to show his confidence in his offensive squad and probably go for it if it's a 4th and short. I think he should have the confidence in this offensive squad, especially with Brian Magro at the helm, to pick up a couple yards if needed.
And 3rd down really dictates if they will go for 4th down. So we'll see what happens on this ensuing play. Handoff is going to go to Marchino. He's going to drop the ball, and I believe Copley picked it up, and they did, and it's going Copley's way. And Marchino trying to get the extra yardage needed for the first down. The ball popped loose, and Copley's going to take over, but there's still 8 minutes left in this game. So don't give up yet, Green Bulldogs. Down 9-7.
And John, I believe Marchino probably was very close to what would have been the first down right there, maybe a yard shy. But his second effort actually cost him right there as he coughed up the football, and Copley was able to recover just shy of the sidelines. There's a Copley player down right by the sidelines. Great shot by our sideline cameraman, Glenn Leach, right there. I think it might be Frank Matese. I'm having a little trouble gathering the number up, John, but I think it's number 7, Frank Matese.
Yeah, it is Matese. We saw him limp off earlier in this game, so I don't know if he re-aggravated something or if this is something new, but he is not looking in the best of health at this present moment, and he's not in friendly company either because he's right in front of the Green Bulldog bench, so he's not getting exactly a lot of support over there. That's a great shot there from Mr. Leach, Mr. Glenn Leach. Norman Lee McCartans is down on the sideline, but Glenn has taken over and done a great job as our sideline shooter, and he's enjoying himself getting to roam the sidelines tonight. He was excited actually about that.
Matese up on his feet. He's hobbling off the field by his own power. There's a slight limp to the walk, but it's nice to see him leave. It doesn't look like a very, very serious injury. Matese, as you mentioned, was shaken up earlier in the game and returned. We'll see if that'll be the case again.
After Copley right now, of course, you want to keep that clock rolling because you've got 8 minutes and 3 seconds left, and you'll do anything you can to cling to this lead. And basically, that's what they've done. Once they score the 9 points, it's been cling time, and they haven't done a good job of it, but at the same time, every bounce has gone their way thus far in this game.
And John, don't be surprised if Lloyd Garden gets the ball quite a few times during this series, trying to just eat up that clock.
Handoff is going to go to Garden. Good call, Mike, as he's going to go to the left, and they're trying to wrap him up and bring him down. And he is so strong as he's going to get about 7 on first down. They had him hog-tied and ready to bring down. They just couldn't do it. His legs just kept churning, which is something a good running back does. And he's not only a good running back, but he's a good young running back. And he has just been amazing tonight.
John, his legs, I'm astonished by this freshman's legs. I mean, he really has amazing set of thighs on him. It really doesn't surprise me that much that he's able to run over defenders as he has tonight. This is a really solid player, Lloyd Garden.
Handoff goes to the left to top, and as he's going to fall forward and get that first down, he gets about 4 or 5 more yards. And more importantly, as the chains move, it's going to keep that clock rolling, and it's now down to about 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes to win or loss, and right now it's not looking good for Green, but 7 minutes is a long time in a football game.
Oh, absolutely, John, and all Green defense needs to think about right now is stopping Copley. They really aren't in the situation where they need to go for the ball. Just make your defensive plays and get them to a 4th down situation.
Hannah's going over the left side to Garden. He only gets about 3 on that play. Good positive yardage. Copley kind of faked him that time. They had 3 wideouts split right. You kind of expected Dix to roll right, maybe go for one of those receivers, but the high percentage play of giving it to Garden and allowing the clock to roll was what they called.
And John, the way my luck has been so far in this game, Dix will probably put it up on this play, but my call is that you won't see the ball in the air very much here from Copley. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep it on the ground. Of course, as I say that, they split 2 receivers wide and put a man in the slot.
And then they run into their own running back as Dix and Topham weren't even sure what play was being called. They hit each other, and they're going to get a loss of about 2, and now Green with a big 3rd down play. And let's see if the D can stand up.
Teddy Gray on the tackle again, that time for Green. A host of changes for the Copley offense with a 3rd and long. You might see him put it up in the air right here, but my thing, John, is I don't think they want to take a chance at all. Their defense has done a great job tonight. They've only given up 7 points to a pretty tough Green offense, so let's not take any chances if I'm Copley.
Dix is going to his left, and the pass is out to his left, and it's going to be completed. But one thing we see there, Mike, is it's a short, quick out, and it's something that's going to hit high percentage. Dix has completed every pass he's thrown tonight, I think, so yeah, it's a good high percentage, but nothing risky, as you said.
Right, John. Very, very conservative play call right there. You know, you pick up a few extra yards for your punter. Who knows, you might even get your receiver a chance to break a tackle right there, but you're not taking a big chance.
Yeah, and in that case, 1 tackle is all he really needed, but the Green defense took a stand, and the ball is going to get away. Norville is going back. It's over his head, and he's going to, oh my, he's going to drop it, and he's able to fall on it inside his own 5-yard line. And that's a ball there where you just, Norville wants to take it and do what he can with it, but you kind of hope it bounces and goes to the end zone so you can start at your own 20, but instead you're at your own 4.
What Brandy Norville's thinking right there is that he knows he can make something happen if he gets the football in his hands. He can get a nice return and set them in pretty good field position, but really you have to play the percentages right there. You're inside the 10-yard line. You have to let that ball go and take the chance it'll go into the end zone, start on the 20.
Yeah, with Norvell, you know that if he gets his hands on it, he's probably going to make something happen. And, of course, Green is thinking the same thing, but unfortunately, it kind of went against him. It backfired. So 1st and 10 from their 4-yard line. Green has a long way to go and a little time to do it, and they got 4 minutes and 49 seconds. That's definitely ample time to do such a thing with 3 timeouts as Magro's going to roll to his right. He's going to go across the 5, across the 10. He's going to take a couple tacklers with him, and I believe he may have gone out of bounds. I don't know, he's on the far side of the field, but he gets about the 16-yard line. And Mike, just give him the ball, let him go.
I agree, John, and really there has to be some sense of urgency here for the Bulldogs, so I think we'll see Magrill try to get his team back up to the line of scrimmage. The clock has now begun to run. We are entering the 4.5-minute mark. We're actually under that right now, so a little bit of urgency for Green to get the team up to the line of scrimmage and get that offense moving.
Green can think nothing but touchdown. It's a long, long ways to go. 84 yards. Magrill takes the snap. He's going to roll to his left. He's going to look for a receiver. He's going to drop it across, and oh, it's in and out of the hands of number 10, Ron Carlson. And behind him was Brandy Norville, but the ball goes to the turf, and that'll stop the clock and give them 2nd and 10.
And actually, John, both receivers look like they had maybe a chance to catch a ball overthrown just a little bit by Magrill. He had really enough time to get a pass off. Again, there was some pressure being put on from his blind side, but really he had enough time to get off a pass again, just wasn't able to find a receiver. The Copley defensive backs have done a pretty nice job so far tonight in covering the Green receivers. This is a Copley team that gave up 4 passing touchdowns last week. They really seem to have improved on that in practice this week.
Magrill takes a snap, and I believe he's going to keep this one, Mike. He's going to roll out, and they can't catch him. He's going across 26 to the 30. He's going to try to cut back in, but he stepped out of bounds, which is okay because he got him the first down, and that's going to stop the clock, and more importantly, it's going to move the chains. And
John, give about half the yardage on that carry to John Dickerson, the split end on the left side right there, who set a block on the outside that sprung Magrill down the sidelines. I actually thought Magrill got a little bit more than he did. He must have went out of bounds before I realized it. But another first down for Green, and bottom line is they're marching the ball downfield. Doesn't matter how you get the yards as long as you get them.
4:02, so they still have a lot of time left. They're moving the ball very well. If you're Copley, of course, you don't mind bending, but you don't want to break here. 4 minutes and 2 seconds to go with Magrill under center. 9-7, Green is down. He takes a snap. It's going to be a handoff to Finese, and that's a good play there because I know it runs it up the middle, but it takes a little bit of pressure off Magrill, and hey, you know, keep keying on us. Maybe we'll get a quick hit here and pop forward for 5 or 6 yards. It gets about 3 or 4 on first down.
And it keeps the Copley defense honest, too. If you continue to throw the ball every play, they're obviously going to be able to read that. They're going to set up their defense to defend the pass. If you can mix up a run here and there, of course, it makes it that much tougher for the defense. So I can agree with that run right there, but most of the time we'll see the ball in the air.
2nd and 7 now from the 35. It's a 3-yard gain on first down. Magrill's going to go to his right. And there's the pass to Norvell. It's wide open. He takes it out of his hands, and he goes all the way down to the 40-yard line. And wow, was that a quick hit. A couple defenders staying home for Magrill, but Magrill was thinking pass the entire time, and he found a wide open Brandy Norvell for a huge gain.
Brian Magrill's so impressive with the football, John. Running it, throwing it, he's just very impressive. He has great composure back there too, John. That's one thing. We haven't seen him try to hurry anything. There have been some situations where the defense has been right in his face. It looks like he may have to hurry up a pass, but he keeps his composure, sets his feet, and gets a nice pass off. He's been very, very impressive.
1st and 10 now from the 40. The clock is a-ticking. Magrill's going back. He's going to drop it off. And if you'll notice there, Mike, as the pass was caught by John Dickerson, both hands are on that ball because the last thing I want here was a turnover. They're now in Copley territory, and I'm pretty sure that we're in 4-down territory also. And, oh, I didn't see the flag on the play, Mike. That's going to be a hold, and we're going to move backwards, and look where it's at. It's 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's a 14-yard penalty.
So Green hurting themselves a little bit with the penalty right there, but you can't keep that on your mind. You just have to think about what your goal is, and that's reaching the end zone. They've done a nice job on this drive. There's really no reason to abort the plan that they've had so far. As Dickerson runs in the next play to Magrill, I think we'll continue to see the ball in Magrill's hands as much as possible. Those few runs that we talked about them mixing in earlier, you might not see any more of that tonight.
1st and 24 and a half. We'll call it 25, so actually it was a 15-yard penalty. Magrill takes the snap. It's going to be that wraparound to Oh, the ball's loose and it's all snagged out. That's the first bounce that Green has got their way. They lose 3 yards on it. The handoff was to Finese, and it popped out, and right behind him was Todd Harrelson, who's very alert, and that could have been the dagger in the heart for Green, but Harrelson was right there and opportunistic, even though they lose a little bit of yardage on it. About 2 yards, going to bring forth a second 26.
And John, that clock continues to tick seconds off. I'm a little bit surprised that Green hasn't gone into a 2-minute offense here and taking the team right up to the line of scrimmage.
Magra's going to keep it himself. He's going to throw forward. He has a wide open receiver, and the ball is taken down, and that's going to be enough yardage for a first down, depending on the spot. And number 86, Todd Harrelson, was going to get a great shot that time, right in on camera. And let's see where they mark that ball at, because I think he might have come up just a bit short, depending on the mark. He was right at the first down marker, which is on the far side of the field, and he's about a half yard short. It looks like third down, about a half yard, with 1:41 left to play, Mike, and the clock stops with the receiver going out of bounds.
And John, this is a good timeout by Green right here because, I'm sorry, Copley actually takes a timeout right here, but actually it's fortunate for Green. They're able to put the play in that they want to in this third and short situation. I think we'll probably see Maraschino across the right side between guard and tackle, something along those lines. I don't think they'll put it up in the air on third down, although you never know. In a play like this, Copley's going to set most of their defenders to the line of scrimmage to stop the run. Maybe we can see a pass. I don't know.
You know, and it's interesting. Copley takes a timeout. In the first half, they took a timeout to try and stop the Green momentum. This is probably a momentum timeout once again. You don't want to give up big back-to-back plays. So as we once again want to say thank you to D'Angelo's Italian Place. They are our official food suppliers for the 1993 football production team. So we want to thank them for providing the food for us tonight. And back to the game, a third down on about a half yard, and really the big thing is you got to get that first down. So let's get it first. We've got 3 timeouts, and we got 100 ticks on the clock, and we're down to. Let's get the first down first and go from there.
And remember, John, Green would like to put the ball in the end zone, but they're only down 2. So really, first things first is get yourself into field goal range so that you can get a kickoff if needed. Then worry about getting the ball into the end zone.
Magro takes a snap. He's going to keep it himself. He's going to roll forward. He's going to get yards. He's going to break into the secondary, and he's going to go all the way down to about the 11-yard line. Magro went to the short side of the field. It seemed as though he was going to be pushed off, but he went over everybody. He's a hurdler. He is a hurdler. We've talked about that.
John, I'm very impressed that time of that play call, and give some credit that time to Ron Carlson and Todd Harrelson, who set some great blocks on the outside. They sent the entire offensive line pulling. You know, you hear about pulling guards, even occasionally a pulling tackle. That was a pulling team that time, John. You have 10 guys pulling to the left side, right behind Magro. There's a lot of excitement in the stadium right now as Green is certainly in scoring range.
A lot of excitement. This team is ready to go. It's nail-biting time for the Green Bulldogs. Magro's going to keep this up. He's going to go to the right. He has to get around one guy. He's unable to. There's a flag back on the... Oh, this could be a killer flag here. We'll have to see who it goes against, but Magro had nothing to his right side.
John, it was interesting where the flag was thrown. There's actually 2 flags on the field. One looks like it would be a holding call. Oh, it's a clip, John. That's a real killer. It's going to send them back and maybe even out of field goal range. But Green goes to the well twice in a row with that play with Magro. A little bit of a surprise, I don't know. They've put themselves now into a position where they have to not only pick up the 10 yards to score, or 12 yards to score, they're going to have to pick up extra yards because of the clip. The officials discussing it with the Copley team captain, finding out what exactly Copley's going to do here. They're certainly going to march off the yards, and Green, who had the ball on the 9-yard line, John, now they'll be marched right back to the 25-yard line. And I would say that this is now taking them out of field goal position. This would be a 42-yarder. I just
no question, Mike. Talking with the Green coaching staff, they said it's more than out of the field goal range. Matt Nieste's on the sideline. Was practicing his warming up that leg as soon as they got down to the 11-yard line, but back at the 25, it's a little bit too much to ask from him. First and 25, a huge penalty that time. Magro's going to keep it himself, and he is swarmed under. And he loses 4 yards on the play, and that play fooled absolutely no one as Copley was all over a host of tacklers, bringing Magro down at about the 29-yard line.
We've ticked down to 1:17 here in the fourth quarter. It looks like Green takes a timeout right here.
They need to take something because they have to get things straightened together here. That penalty has to absolutely hurt in more ways than one, because it hurts them not only on the yardage, but you get that momentum finally going your way, and suddenly you're moving backwards. They were trying the Copley approach, but it's a little bit late for that.
And Green desperately right now needs a great stand by their offensive line. They need to get Magrill some time, give him the protection needed to throw the ball downfield. This really is a big set of downs for the Green offensive line. They've done the job for Magrill thus far tonight. He has had enough time to throw. He's been able to set himself and throw the ball downfield. They're going to have to do it right now, but as you and I both know, it is difficult to score in what is considered the red zone. Your field shrinks. It doesn't give you as many opportunities. It doesn't give you quite as many different things to use offensively, because the red zone, it is a little bit tougher to score in.
Yeah, and talking to the staff, they said that he needs to get back there, at least the original line of scrimmage, to have a chance. Across the middle, and right there's the receiver. Oh, and it's bobbled and caught, and that is a catch at the 9-yard line, and what a catch that time by John Dickerson. He bobbled it first, but he would not be denied pulling it down, and that gets him back. 1-yard pass, the original line of scrimmage. Wow.
Great concentration by Dickerson right there, John, as Green takes another timeout. What great concentration. You know, it's tough for a kid to be able to catch a pass over the middle. He knows he's going to take a shot right there, maybe the shot of his life. Not only does he have the concentration to get his hands on the ball the first time, he keeps his concentration as he takes that hit and hauls it in. Very impressive play by Dickerson.
Seconds left. Green is down 9-7. You can't get any more exciting than this, Mike. Magrill will be under center. He has Norville split to the left. He takes a snap, and we're going to get a penalty before anything even happens.
Ouch. A big ouch right there, John. When a penalty stops a play, it rarely is on the defense. You got a procedure call on the Green offense, and I'll tell you, John, they really haven't done a real nice job here. When they put themselves in a position to win this game, they've sent themselves backwards. I'll tell you, Coach Hominy is must be tearing his hair out at this point. There's got to be a lot of frustration on the Green sideline. We are down to 58 seconds. We've ticked under a minute. All kinds of frustration right now, I'm sure, John.
There's all kind of confusing everywhere. The center supposedly moved the ball, but they're moving the ball back 6 yards. If that isn't the line of scrimmage, I'm not sure what is, but they moved it back 6. So it turns into a third, and I'm not exactly sure, but they're at the 15 now instead of at the 9.5. So the call was moving the ball by the center, which of course is on the offense because there's only one center on the field.
That is a great point, John.
I try to just make great points, Mike, so I can keep the flow of the game going.
This might be a blessing in disguise, because the more yardage you have to work with this deep in the field, the more opportunity you have for a receiver to run a normal pass pattern, a normal pass route that he can get open. Obviously, Green does not want to move backwards, but it might give a receiver like Norvell a chance to run a better pattern. This
has been mass confusion. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think anybody knows what's going on, but they lost a second with when the clock never moved. It was a dead ball foul, so I would think that the clock would stay the same, but it's at 58. So I think they're going to put a second on the clock here. They're almost going to have to if it's a dead ball foul.
Well, that's right, John. I think the confusion stems from where the clock is right now. On a dead ball foul, there obviously is not supposed to have any time go off. There was 1 second ticked off. They've put that back on. I think we're ready to go now with 59. So Green, 59 seconds remaining. 3rd and 14. They actually can pick up a first down. It's not likely they'll get it without the touchdown.
Right, and another thing, Mike, is that another thing that's important is they've had more than ample time to set this play. As Magrill is going to fade back, and they're going to blitz him. He's going to go forward by himself. He gets to the 9. He rolls around back to the 6 and to the 5. He's down to about the 5-yard line. He is something special. I mean,
he is impressive.
He is something special.
He is impressive. The Bulldogs are going to take another timeout right here. This is their third and final timeout, but certainly if there was ever a point in a game for a timeout, this would be it. Brings up a 4th down and 5. This will be likely the last play of the game for Green. I believe they've sent in the kicking team, John, so they're going to try to win this one through the uprights. I think it's a pretty good call. If you have any confidence in your kicker, you have to have confidence in a 22-yard field goal.
Well, and another thing, Mike, is that it goes back to kicking in that we talked about on an extra point that looked like it was good easily, but for some reason hooked around the upright and then back through. So it was no good on that extra point, and we could point at it if this field goal goes through. Matt Niasti will be doing the kicking, number 7. He is a senior. He doesn't necessarily want to do the kicking here, but at the same time, if this is what you want. I mean, this is where you've always thought about being if you're going to be the kicker, the spot that you want to be in.
Sure, obviously great pressure on the kicker right here. This is to win or lose the game. He has a chance to miss right here, but of course he has the chance to make and be the hero in what is a big game every year, Green and Copley.
22 yards from a 10-9 supposed victory, we'll see.
22.
The snap is back, the kick is up, and that is no good.
And John, he just missed, if he missed it all right there. It really looked to me like the ball curved around the upright, but it's tough for us to tell from this vantage point. Obviously, it was a miss because the official's standing right under that upright, and if anyone can tell, it's him. I'll tell you, John, that kick did not miss by much.
Boy, it really didn't, and it had more than enough distance. That would have been good from about 32, actually. That ball went up, and Nasty hit it the way he wanted to hit it, but it swung left, just missing. As you said, from our vantage point, it looked good, but from their vantage point, they have the best vantage point. It's their call, so Copley is up 9-7. They're calling a timeout, and they want to make sure they get everything straight because they have 42 seconds, and they want to make sure they can run this clock out.
And John, Green obviously has no timeouts remaining, so basically all Copley has to do is take a knee. The Green defenders are obviously going to go for the football as quickly and as roughly as possible, try to maybe force a fumble. It's not very likely. Really what you have right here, John, is for the second year in a row, a Copley upset over Green. And for the sake of the Bulldogs, you hope that this doesn't make a difference in what could have been a playoff season.
It really takes a hit on them, Mike. They're a 3-0 squad. They get a team that upset them or beat them last year by a point in overtime, and they get the team that they want.